I'm here today with Lloyd Walker. Lloyd, you have one of the top turntables in the world. The execution, the attention to detail is impeccable. Tell us a little bit about this model turntable. First off, what's the retail price on the Walker Proscenium Black Diamond 3?
Well, the Black Diamond 3 now is $89,995.
I understand that comes with you to personally set it up.
Yes, here in the States, yes it does.
If you're an overseas customer, do they pay your expenses to fly you over, or how do you have that set up?
If the customer wants it, yes, that's optional. But our dealers and distributors are trained on how to set it up. So they usually do the setup. I usually go to the distributor and install the first turntable and train them on how to set up the
Show
turntable.
them how to do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, well, let's go back to this. You was talking about this one. This is one of the first ones I ever built. This turntable was built back in 96, 97. It was a silver signature. That's why it looks a little bit different. This one has the smaller motor on it. Later, it was updated to the gold proscenium. Then Dennis bought the turntable, and we upgraded it to the Mark II, and just recently we upgraded it to the Mark III specs.
Now, this is a path that you've taken with several reviewers as well. They'll have an older turntable, and then you'll go and update the turntable, and they can hear and see the improvements. Is that that seems to be a very good business model? Then you can kind of gauge and get what your advancements, what the impact of your advancements.
Well, yes. You know, as it stands right now, I know of nothing else I can do to this turntable to make it better. I thought that 15 years ago, you know, but you always come up with something. I am always experimenting and trying and learning something.
Lloyd, the tone arm itself has a sheen to it. What's the material on it? You call it, it's a black diamond. Is that ceramic? Is that graphite?
Well, it's not ceramic and it's not graphite. It's a material somewhat similar to ceramic. It is formed under extremely high temperature and pressure. That's why we call it the black diamond. The only thing harder that I know of is the diamond itself. We dropped the carbon fiber in favor of this arm.
What difference sonically did you hear from carbon fiber to black diamond?
Cleaner, quicker, faster, less distorted sound.
That's amazing, because the table itself is one of the cleanest, quickest, yet still musical tables on the market today.
You know, sometimes just for fun, I'm straight when we're setting up the turntable. A man would have a knife that's very, very sharp, and he was doubting how hard the arm was. And I'm talking about the air bearing itself. The spindle and the arm is the same material. And I would take the knife and go across the arm like this and hand him back his knife, and it would be dull. But there would be no scratch on the arm. Actually, the two holes that I have to drill into this arm tooth to take the arm wires through it, I have to use a diamond drill bit, and after I drill 2 holes, sometimes maybe 3, I have to throw the diamond drill bit away.
So this is the Mark III, and how's it differentiated from the Mark II, Lloyd?
Well, the major change between the Mark II and Mark III, other than a few mods in the air supply itself, the major change was separating the air suspension pressure separately from the arm and the platter. There's 3 air supplies for this. A very low air supply pressure, which is only about 4 to 5 psi for the platter, and 45 psi for the arm itself. Actually, the way this came about, adding the 3rd air supply, I was searching for a way to take a little bit of stress off the air suspension for the air suspension units itself, and to make them a little more reliable, you know. So I had went through this once before when I first developed the air suspension and did not like it at the lower pressures. And I tested it from 50 psi all the way down to 3 psi and did not like the sound. I like the sound the best from 40 psi up to 50. And one day when I had some spare time, I decided to try it one more time. And I did, and I happened to notice this time that when I got to a certain pressure, some differences happened in the sound. Especially between the highs and the low frequencies in their speed.
Well, the interesting thing is the table is so revealing that not only, and I found when I had the turntable, that anything I did to the turntable, any adjustment, even if I took a little bit of a couple drops of pipette out of and removed a little bit of fluid in the dampening trough, I could hear the difference.
Oh, it's enormous. And with the new Black Diamond arm, it made it even more revealing. And when I discovered on the air suspension there is a sweet spot, and it's plus or minus a quarter of a psi.
That's incredible.
Is where the sweet spot is.
That's incredible.
And the sound changes opposite, going higher versus going lower. There's one sweet spot, and that's where it needs to be.
That's very, very interesting.
Now, there's something else that I learned from this. Also, we've just developed a new dampening fluid. The dampening fluid had to be totally changed for the arm and the air suspension because there was different requirements for it now. The older dampening fluid was much too high in viscosity. Now it's much less. And that made a tremendous improvement.
And the dampening fluid sits in the trough here. And I want to let the viewers know that the turntable, though looking complicated, is the most easy turntable to use. All you do is set it up one time, and as long as your floor isn't settling or the earth hasn't changed its balance, you don't have any more adjustments to do. So it's most of the adjustments occur on initial setup.
Well, exactly. When there's some things to check occasionally, as with anything, you check the oil in your car. You have to check the oil in the air supply on this.
Understood.
And the arm drift is something you check, but it's really easy. You just put on a little stick-on weight on a counterweight arm and adjust this knob so the arm does not drift left or right. Other than that, once you do your setup on the turntable, it doesn't change. We just had a man ship his turntable from the house that he's moving from to his new house, had the cartridge in place. He just picked it up, put it in the moving van, shipped it there, and when we went there and set the turntable up for him. Cartridge still in place. We set the table up, turned on the air, leveled the table, and the tracking force was still the same.